Folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin, and I am your host. And we have a wonderful guest here, Mr. Tony Wheatley. He is with Constitutional Kentucky. He's going to talk to us about why they found a need, why some American patriots found a need to establish that group, what that group's mission is, and also talk about a dinner they're going to have, second annual dinner they're going to have, and I believe it's on September 18th. So we're going to talk about all that today. He's a first-time guest, so we will have information on like their YouTube channel if they have one, and Facebook page and website. We're going to all have that in the descriptions so that you guys can follow up with them and learn more about them, and hopefully come out for that dinner, which is in September, Shelbyville, Kentucky. Very important that you come out for that dinner, and very important you drag that teenager with you. They're going to be okay. They're going to get a good meal and some good information, some great education. Brother, thank you for coming on the show today. I appreciate you. Hello.
Well, thank you, Corbin.
Yes.
It's an honor to be on here, and can't thank you enough for inviting me. So
Sure. Brother, let's just start with the basics. Why did you see a need to start Constitutional Kentucky?
Well, when you looked around at what was going on in society today, I mean, a lot of the social issues we're facing had people grew up knowing the Constitution and knowing what our founders meant. We wouldn't have a lot of the problems we have because they don't understand the Constitution. So our job is to, our main purpose is to educate and let people know that inside that Constitution, there's no mention of color. There's no mention of male, female. There's no mention of anything that would divide us. And we have let our country divide, and our own government has done some of it just by dividing us. Of course, the media hasn't helped any, but the Constitution is for everybody. We stood in the lines at the unemployment office and handed out hundreds of constitutions and food and things like that. But we wanted them to understand that this book, the Constitution, was written for them. And, go home and read it. Figure out why our situation is so bad sometimes. And when we look at it, it's because we got away from it. And, I'm a big believer that the Constitution was biblically based. I think our forefathers had a great idea when they sit down and even though God's not mentioned in the Constitution, it's there. He's there. And it just by the pure words that were written, there's a reason for them to be written the way they are. So.
Yeah,
but our goal is to get it in the hands of people that need to learn, so we can kind of create at least a better conversation of where it's going with the Constitution. Because right now, anytime the state has an opportunity, not just our state but any state, the Constitution is kind of pushed to the side, and we really don't want that. We want it to be upfront and prevalent to what we're doing, and as far as making our laws.
Brother, I think most people, listening to this would say, well, why do we need to do all that? Isn't the Constitution taught in, public schools these days?
Not really. If you're under 40 years old, you probably have not had a constitutional class, unless you just take it on purpose. The question I get, or the question I get, is the question I ask is, why aren't you getting that? And they're teaching those things, and they basically said, well, we don't have the funds for it. So that's part of why Constitutional Kentucky exists, so we can raise the money, so we can get constitutions and give them to teachers that need them or want to teach, or give them to students or churches, whoever. We passed out 10,000 constitutions this year.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal is to pass out another 5,000 really before school starts. And that's just, that's not too far away. We keep, that's our biggest bill, is just the Constitution getting them mailed. I do get Bill of Rights Institute gives us the constitutions, and we we just make sure we get them out. So, and then
it's really pretty sad to hear if a public school official anywhere in this country said, well, we would teach it, but we don't have the funds. My attitude would be, then why do you exist, period? I mean, that is the governing document in the United States. You want to talk about, voting rights and free speech and the right to protest. I mean, you got to go to the Constitution. And really, if you sort of like don't know these rights exist, then these rights to some degree don't exist for you. Is that making any sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, nobody could build something if they haven't ever seen a blueprint, to some extent. And that's where we are with this. The Constitution is a blueprint for our government. It's not so much for others, but if we don't read it, how can we tell the government how to run us, how to do what we want them to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's our playbook, and we expect them to play by it. But if they don't know it, we got problems. And I promise you, there are people that have been elected that have probably never opened up the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Brother, it's interesting you said that. I remember one time I came across a interview with AOC, and she made a statement. I wish I could remember the exact statement, but she made a statement. I said to myself, you don't know, you haven't read the Constitution. She didn't know the three branches of government.
Yeah.
And she's in Congress, she's in the House, and she didn't know the three branches of government. I don't think it was like a brain fart. I think she just did not know it. I was sort of scared.
And
at that point. I was sort of scared.
It doesn't surprise me. Okay. It does not surprise me one bit. Because they're not going to learn this in school. I mean, that's what we have to do. I started a petition just recently dealing with the fact that all schools should have at least one class. All students should have one class of constitutional studies, or at least a good civics class covering the Constitution before they graduate.
Right.
That's not even an option for people right now. The history class is so watered down that it never covers this. You learn more about the Teapot Dome scandal in the 20s versus what's going on with your First Amendment rights.
Right.
So we have to push those efforts out there. So.
Well, it's interesting. I spoke with one time Brigitte Gabriel, and a sister who escaped socialist Cuba. And they talked about when they had to become a U.S. citizen, they had to study U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, etc. And Brigitte said, she knew more about the U.S. Constitution than her American-born husband. And I said, well, how is that? She said, because I studied it. He said, because I studied it. I was required to study it. I was required to know it. And yet apparently, here in the United States, we're not required to know it. But I think it is our responsibility to know it.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we've lost. I mean, it's not only just the teachers that's failed, the parents have failed. And I'm not trying to criticize parents for what they do, because they have a lot on their plate. I'm one, but you got to take time to teach history, or we're doomed to repeat it. And the historical side of the Constitution, if you dwell into it and understand, why the Second Amendment exists, we should not have any gun laws at all because of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But we understand that there are limits. It's kind of like hauling fire in a big room. You're not going to do that. But we have to basically go back to grassroots and teach from the get-go. Like I said, my 7-year-old knows more of the Constitution than a lot of the teachers I've talked to. So, and that's a bad thing. Maybe be looking good on her part, but realistically, we got a lot to cover. And every day we these challenges of our especially our Bill of Rights, they're losing ground. You know,
Yes.
they're getting watered down more and more.
Well, I hear too much, particularly a lot on Facebook and YouTube, and where a lot of young people, no, I can't say a lot, but I've come across several. Brother, they do not believe in free speech. And I keep trying to explain to them, just because you disagree with somebody or you think they're saying something that's inaccurate does not give anyone the right to just say, no, you can no longer say that.
That's right.
They,
And that's been going away for quite some time.
yes.
And what our Facebook page just got taken down yesterday. I mean, we're a big believer in free speech, but even though we try to, I'm sure they've found some way to basically take us down in their legal terms. But the obvious thing is they're taking us down because we stand up against the principles that the left is trying to push.
Yes. And one of those principles, I guess you could say, is they believe in censorship flat out. And, you know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
they hide behind.
Yeah, we've I mean, I've seen groups throughout the last year that, you know, they struggle to, anything they say is being held against them. I've seen people that have been attacked for their stance on Facebook by other people.
Mhm.
And, you know, and I realize when you get on Facebook, people are going to read what you say, but you have a right to say it, and people should not be threatening and that kind of thing and getting away with
Right.
it, and they do. So
They do.
that would be censorship if you're going to have it at all.
Right.
But I believe that Congress should do something about the monopolies that Facebook and other groups have, that way they can just take you off anytime they want. The control is just too much.
Yes.
I don't know if they ever will. But it's good to have people like you that can get on the podcast and say what we need to say. So we appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir. Brother, let's talk about that dinner. Give us the facts. Where's it going to be? How can I get a ticket? Talk to me.
All right. Well, our dinner is going to be held. It's our second one. Last year we held it in Frankfort. This year we're going to have it in Shelbyville at Claudia Sanders Restaurant. And if you've ever ate at Claudia Sanders, you know, one of the things you talk about is the food. So last year our food was okay, but this year we want to make it great. And I've used Claudia Sanders for other things, and the dinner is set up in such a way that you can enjoy yourself. We want you to come out and have food, listen to a great speaker. I know she was your last guest, Lily Williams. She has a story to tell that's just unreal.
Yes.
And we'll have a few surprise guests. We have invited Rand Paul. We have invited Thomas Massey. We're on their list, as they say. But you know, anything can happen with people in Congress. They can be called off any minute. So we never gave you 100% sure that people are going to be there because of that reason. But if they do show up, that's just a bonus. Let's put it that way.
Yes, sir.
The food is always good there. You'll have the opportunities to win prizes, get to meet with fellow patriots, and it's just a lighthearted night. You know, we try to have fun with it, get to know everybody, and we have some awards we give out every year because, you know, there's some citizens awards we give, there's legislators awards we give, deserving to the right people we feel, and you know, it's a search sometimes to find them, but this year hadn't been that bad. We know who's stepping up and who's not, and so we have those awards to give out.
How can I get a ticket, brother? Where do I go?
How can you get a ticket? You can actually go to our website, which is constitutionalkentucky.com, and there is a link there that will take you to a group called Brushfire, and basically you can sign up there to go, pay as you go right there on the spot, or you can write a check. So you know, we'll take checks too. We're not we know we can get them to the bank. So,
there you go, folks. This is Book Talk with Go
Okay,
ahead.
well,
Brad.
we do have tables available. Okay, we have tables if you want to, you got a group that wants to